All right, season 2, episode 7, The Killing Ground, Kierion's Leftovers. All right, in the last episode, episode 6 of season 2, Kierion was on the prowl again and kills. Rayden was in Creo's cabin researching or reviewing the journal that Creo wrote and found out about this guy named Jeffrey Satterfield. And basically, this guy was a mystic, and he knew how to kill Kierion, supposedly. So Rayden wanted to research deeper to find this guy. Also, Turner and Chastain left Sturgill's diner to go to the sheriff's office to get the address of the waitress that didn't show up for work. They felt that might be a possibility, that she might be a victim, and we'll find out if she is. Basically, got her address from the deputy sheriff at the counter, and they started walking out the door. And that's where we left off. So, if you missed any of the other episodes, season 1, and episodes up to and including this episode, they will be on my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Eric Ruggles, playlist, empty podcast episodes. Become a subscriber today and hit notifications so you know when the next episode is coming out. All right. At that moment, the sheriff's office phone rang and the elderly deputy answered the phone. "Sheriff's office," he said in a stern voice. Turner and Chastain began walking out the door, and JJ, the deputy, hollers at them to stop. "Hold up!" Turner and Chastain turned around and walked back to the counter with questionable looks on their face. JJ says, "Where did you say this happened?" The voice on the other end said, "In the woods that stretch from the interstate to all the way behind Maple Valley High School." "Where at exactly?" asked JJ. "Basically almost to the school. It's still a good distance away, but it was going toward the school," replied the voice on the other end of the phone. JJ finally hangs up and looks at the two detectives. "That homicide you guys been investigating with the decapitation?" stated JJ. "Yeah, what about it?" said Turner. JJ replied, "You got another victim, a hiker in the woods leading toward Maple Valley High School. Let me get a squad car to come in and you can follow them to the crime scene." So JJ gets on the dispatch and has a squad car on its way to the station. Turner then gives his card to the elderly deputy and asks him to relay to them anything that comes across the radio. And JJ said, "I will." Turner and Chastain were upset. "This killer is always ahead of us and very elusive. We have to get this guy," says Turner. 5 minutes later, a squad car pulls up, and Chastain and Turner walk out the door, get in their rental, buckle up, and start to follow the squad car to the crime scene. As the two cars pull off in the direction of the school, JJ pulls a book out of his backpack that he brings to work, and he began to write in it. Kierion, slowly and cautiously walking through the woods after his kill, was walking toward what he believes is town. Begins to see the edge of the woods, and at the edge he walks real cautiously toward the ending of the woods and stops just behind some trees. Kierion was definitely going to survey the area before he just walks out of the woods. So as he peers from the group of trees, he sees a building. The parking lot is full, and there seems to be people leaving the building. Kierion looks a little to his left, sees a football field, then baseball fields, and then tennis courts. Kierion had a huge smile on his face. "This is a school," he thought to himself. "Oh, the treats I could have from the multiple temptations of young potential victims." The woods behind the school were frequently visited by students, especially to hook up and vape. Rayden, however, when going into the woods, he would go way deep into the woods and use that for peace and quiet and to think. But most kids would not go as deep until a group of freshmen, they walked up towards the woods and stopped. Kierion walked closer toward the group so he could hear them, and 2, they would enter the woods, he could feed on them again. He was always looking to feed, not so much for the hunger, but for the thrill of killing. So in the past few years, he has developed a craving to kill, and he's become good at it. So he's hiding behind the trees, cautiously waiting, listening to them, and also, if they walk into the woods, he was going to eat them. As Kierion hid behind some trees, he started to focus in on their discussion. There were 4 freshman boys in the group, and the basis of the discussion was, the seniors were not as tough as they think they are, and we're going to prove we are tougher. How are we going to do that? Asked Jimmy, one of the 4 freshmen in the group. Dalton, the leader of this group, so to speak, answered by telling a short story. Legend has it that deep in these woods lives some kind of monster or ogre type being. There has been a few students here that have said they have seen him. Apparently, if you go straight north from the football field and deep into the woods, then that is where the creature lives. How is that going to make us look tougher? Asked Steve, another freshman in the group. Dalton replied, because tonight we will have a sleepover at my house, and we will sneak out and come to these woods and walk until we find that creature. It was Friday, and it was the end of the football season. These freshmen played football, but their season was over because Maple Valley High made the playoffs, and these 4 freshmen did not make the list to travel on Saturday to play in the game. They were a little bitter, one could say. They felt that they were better than the players in their respective positions, but they were not seniors, like the people that were in their position. Joseph, the last member in the group, asks, how is that going to make us tougher than the seniors? Dalton answered with a serious look on his face. We will have flashlights in our phones. When we find this creature, we will video it, then show it to the sissy-ass seniors. Joseph added, yeah, well, they will just say it is fake and we staged it or something. Dalton calmly stated, that is when we tell them to prove us wrong by going and checking it out with us, as if he had it all figured out. Jimmy said, I'm in. Me too, added Steve. What the hell? I am in too, said Joseph. Good. Now hopefully you all get permission to stay over, so go ahead and text your moms to ask. So they all texted their mothers, while Dalton texted to ask to have the sleepover. All their moms were pretty chill, so the answer to all of them was a yes, except Jimmy. Jimmy's mom would have said yes, but they had family plans on Saturday, and Jimmy had to go. Well, that sucks, said Dalton. Yep, I guess you guys will just have to tell me about it and show me the video. Will do, spoke Dalton in a disappointing voice. Kierion, listening to the whole conversation, watched the boys walk away from the woods. Kierion's mind began to scheme up a plan. This creature they are talking about sounds like it could be Creo, the warlock I'm looking for. I guess I won't hang out here until tonight and follow these boys, and once we get there, if it is Creo, I will crush his stone, killing him, and we should be deep enough in the woods, I will catch up to the running scared boys and have a feast. Kierion had a smile on his face, and he couldn't wait till tonight. The squad car came to a stop at the edge of the woods and parked. Turner and Chastain pulled in right behind them. Both cars were put in park, and Turner and Chastain got out of their car, and the deputy sheriff got out of his car. The deputy sheriff approaches Turner and Chastain and introduced himself as Officer Roy. The 3 proceeded to the crime scene. As they walked toward the scene, they could see the other deputy sheriffs and the actual sheriff. As they got closer, they saw that the crime scene had been taped off, and three men walked up to the sheriff. The sheriff, John Reeves, was in his 50s, and he wasn't in bad shape for a 15-year-old man. He stood at 6 feet even and was about 205 pounds in weight. He had dark hair, dark brown eyes, and he had been voted in as sheriff for about 20 years, so he had experience. However, this was the first murder of this kind. He had seen a few decapitations, but that was from nasty car wrecks, and this here was done by another person, or at least they thought. Turner and Chastain walked up to the sheriff, Reeves, and introduced themselves. Sheriff, my name is Turner, and this is Chastain. We are part of a regional task force investigating a serial killer, and this murder has his or her signature all over it, said Turner. Well, we could use the help, said Reeves. My crew is fairly young, with only a couple veterans on the squad. Anything you guys need? Do you mind if we look around the crime scene? Said Chastain. Be my guest, answered Reeves. So Chastain and Turner started to walk around the crime scene. The body, of course, was drained of blood and the head off and missing. There were several prints at the scene because it was a hiking trail. That is how the body was discovered, by a hiker. The breakdown of the scene was basically the murder took place there, so the body was not killed and brought there. Too many footprints to tell who was who, so not really much they could do except remove the body, try to identify the victim, and go from there. Chastain asked the sheriff if they had a forensic crew, and the sheriff just laughed and said, "We have a coroner, that is it, but he has some forensic equipment as well." "Okay," said Chastain. "Well, let's leave the scene alone until he gets here." "Sounds good," says Reeves. The sheriff had told a few deputies to search the perimeter for anyone or anything that might be linked to the crime scene. They were pretty far off from the crime scene and were ready to turn back. They ended up walking a bit further and came upon a gravel road that led to the clearing. The first deputy said, "Is that something behind the clearing?" The other deputy replied, "Yes, it is, and it's pretty big. Get your gun out, cover me as we approach the object."
Cover me. I'll check the inside of the car.
The first deputy whispered, "Yeah, I think it's a car." "You are right. It is a car. It looks like a Camry." "I'll check the inside," and they both approached the car with caution. All right, there you have it. Basically, episode 7. Kierion strikes again, leaving his leftovers.
Cover me.
They're going to find out
I'll
that
check the
there's
inside
a
of the
body
car.
in the car. Next episode, we'll reveal that, who it is, and also the body on the hiker trail. Kierion's in the woods still, but he's a good distance away from the sheriffs, so he's not really in any danger. And Rayden is looking for a place to do some research, and that'll be in the next episode as well. I'm hoping you're enjoying my chapters that I'm giving, my episodes. I really enjoy reading it to you guys. And stay tuned for chapter 8 of season 2. It will be coming soon. Thank you.